Hi, good evening all. Thanks to for joining this today's webinar on Active Workspace 6.3 configuration and customization overview. Myself Ananta Brahmanka here. I am going to explain today's webinar. These are the points. So first is what's new in Active Workspace 6.3. Second one, Active Workspace configurations, and third one, Active Workspace customization. So in this webinar, you will get to know what all are the things are there. So first is you will get to know the possible configuration scenarios. So we have added multiple scenarios here in this in webinar. Plus there are multiple preferences. Using these preferences, you can customize the tool. Utilities are there. There are predefined utilities are there. Then BMID constants, logging mechanism, style sheet configuration, UI configuration, and installation error, plus AWC 6.3 customization, how to call SOA call, and how to use REST API. So these are the points we will discuss in this today's session. So first we will see what are all are the new features and what all are the new preferences are there for ActiveOS 6.3. So first preference name is stand for AWC underscore user item ID as default dataset name. As you know that when we create a new dataset in the Active Workspace environment, so that time by default for dataset system will allocate the file name, whatever file you import from outside, and that file name is going to be assigned there for the newly imported file in the Active Workspace. So in the 6.3, this is the new preference they have added. So using this preference, you can change your dataset name as item ID. So whatever item you have selected, so for that item related some item ID is there, and that item ID you can assign as a dataset name. So you need to set this preference as a true so that your dataset name will be changed as per the item ID. Okay, so new feature is there in the Active Workspace called as save as or revise. So save as and revise earlier in old version it was there, but it was in one panel. But now they have added, they have categorized in a separate button. Revise is separate button, save as is a separate button. Plus one more feature is there called as export import dataset name reference. In the rich client, when you import a data set, and suppose in the data set if there are multiple name references are there, so that name references you can directly see in the rich client. The same feature in the ActiveOS 6.3. So using this you can load your number of name references, and whatever name references are there, okay, you can directly check there. How to check that? So you need to select a particular data set and you have to click on information panel, and once you click on that particular panel, it will load the number of name references. So that total number of name references you can find out here. Plus you can configure the search panel in the ActiveOS 6.3. So this is a new feature in this 6.3. So using this you can change the configuration panel. For example, if you want to show the search icon in the search panel, so if you want to hide that icon, okay, so there is a one preference called as point number 1, AW disable type ahead facet search. So using this you can show the icon or you can hide the icon. So default value is true so that it will be visible there. Then you can control the time between when user start to typing search field and user when the user result begin to be appear. So when you pass some value in the search box and suggestion search, it will get load there. So that time also you can control. So how to control? The point number 2, there is a AW type ahead facet search delay is one of the particular preference, and using that you can delay that particular value, or you can control it, whether let's say 500 millisecond, 300 millisecond, that you can add it. Okay, the next one, if you want to show the result whether in list mode or in a group manner, so that case there is a one more preference called as AWC underscore search filter categories display mode. So whether you want to show the result in list mode or in group mode, that you can control. So that time you need to use this preference point number 3 to show the result in either list or group manner. Okay, plus you can configure the search filter. Okay, so where you can add the wildcard. So let's say you can show the result in a wildcard basis. Okay, so how can you load that data on the basis of wildcard? So that case you need to use this preference called as AWC underscore search filter wildcard. So it has value, let's say point number 0, I mean say value is 0, so no wildcard is going to be applicable. If you make it as value as 1, the wildcard is going to be applied as a suffix to search the data. So suppose if you want to show the result, for example, you have the item ID is ending with 5, okay, and then you want to write or starting with 5, and then you have to write point number 1, that is value 1, 5 star, so that it will get star all the object those are ending with 5. Okay, sorry, and it is going to be start with 5. Okay, then point number 2, that is value 2, so that you can search the data based on the prefix. Means here the prefix is going to be applied there as let's say star 5, so that it will search all the objects are going to be searched, okay, based on the prefix. So let's say you are make it as a star 5, so that it will search all of the object those are ending with 5. Okay, then point number 3, where prefix and suffix it works together. So that case you have to set the value as a 3, so that you can search the data based on either prefix or in suffix. Okay, together you can do that. For example, star 5 star, so that it will allow to search the result based on that preference value. Okay, then this is a new feature in the active workspace where you can search the data based on file content. Okay, for example, you have one of the particular text file or doc file or PDF file, and in that file has some content, some, for example, paragraphs are there, tables are there, for example, doc file. Okay, and you want to search the data based on the file content. So how to search the data based on the file content? You need to set this preference called as AW indexable file extension. Okay, so it is allowed to search the data based on the file content, where you have to specify the file type, whether it is a .txt or PDF. That extension you have to add it, so that it will allow to do the file indexing, okay, or file content indexing you can say. And you need to enable the global constant. In BMID it has option to enable the global constant. So one of the one of the global constant called as AWP0 indexable file types. So where you can specify the what are the file to be indexed. Okay. So for example, text file, doc file, PDF file, image file, that you can specify here. Then how to allow to search the data based on the file content? So you need to parallelly set this preference as a on. So what is that preference name? Called as AWS underscore file, sorry, AWS underscore full text search index dataset file content value is equal to on, so that you can search the data based on the dataset file. Okay, and if you want to configure the search properties, okay, so for example, if you want to search the data based on object data indexing or let's say structured data indexing, so how to configure it? So that time you need to set this preference there called as tcftest indexer is there, and it has one of the, tcroot has tcftest indexer, and it has one of the particular properties file called as tcftest indexer underscore obj data dot properties file. Okay, and inside this file you can set the parameter. For example, if you want to search the file, okay, or search the data or to index the data based on image file. Okay, suppose you have some images, okay, and if you want to index the image file, so that time you need to set this parameter as a true. So there is one parameter point number 2, you can see set extract inline images parameter value is equal to true, and which is in this particular file called as tcfts tka file. So using this you can index the image file. So you have to set this parameter as a true. so that it will allow to do the indexing images. Okay. The next one, how to check the performance data in the active workspace. So this is a new feature is there in the 6.3. So using this, you can do the performance monitor. For example, you want to check your internet speed, you want to check your download speed, upload speed, connection status, okay, total SOA request, total network time, HTTP request, node count, tree depth. So there is a performance monitor is there, and using performance monitor, you can quickly find out the details, okay, about your internet speed and all this. So near to logout button there is a performance monitor is one of the feature is there, and using that you can find out the performance monitor about your browser. Okay, next one, ticket expiration is there. Enable the browser caching. So if you want to enable the browser caching, okay, so for example, if you want to load your image in your browser cache for, let's say, for 2 hours 3 hours, so how to enable the browser caching in the active workspace? So that time you need to enable this preference called as ticket expiration resolution is one of the particular preferences there, and there you need to set the value is equal to some second. For example, 7200 means for next 2 hours your image is going to be hold, or it is going to be saved in your browser cache. Okay, so that value you can change according to your business need, so that you can quickly load the such a heavy images, okay, in the active workspace. And suppose every time when you load the same image after some 2 hours 3 hours, so every time the new ticket is going to be created there. Okay, so for 2 hours after, for example, 1 p.m., and after, let's say, 2 3 p.m., if you want to load the same image, so every time new ticket is going to be generated. So there is a such a preference is there. Using that you can enable the browser caching. Next one, how to configure the image resolution in the active workspace 6.3. So there is a one of the preference called as TC image compression enabled. Okay, so using that you can define your image resolution, whether you want to show in a 64 pixel or 300 pixel or 600 pixel. So that time you need to set this preference point number one called as TC image compression enable. So you have to make it as a true, so that it will be compression enable will be there, and you can change the image resolution as per your need, whether low, medium or high, and you can change that. Okay, next one in the active workspace 6.3, it has one of the feature called as import export access manager rule tree. Suppose if you have the rule tree, in the team center active workspace environment, there is a access manager is a separate application. So using admin workspace, you can launch the access manager, and inside this you can load your access manager rule tree. Okay, so for example, if you want to export the rule tree or if you want to import the rule tree, so there is a feature is there, and using that you can export and import the rule tree. Okay, next one, smart discovery for structure. This is a new feature in the ActiveOS 6.3. So this is allowed to quickly search the content data. Content means I mean to say assembly data. Suppose if you want to index the particular part from particular assembly. Suppose if you have the big assembly, let's say truck assembly, and in that truck assembly having, let's say, for example, 7 million parts, and you, out of that, if you want to index the particular part, okay, or if you want to index the particular object, so that time you need to enable the smart discovery, and using that smart discovery you can quickly search the data, and using that smart discovery you can integrate with CATIA, NX, live visualization, even product configurator, everywhere you can integrate it, and using that you can quickly search it. So how to search the sorry, I mean to say how to search the particular object based on the smart discovery. So that time you need to run this particular utility called as run tcftindexer.bat, and there is a one of the features you have to write. Generally it has obj data indexing, it has structured data indexing, but today Siemens has launched Smart Discovery. So that time you need to write run tcpindex.bat hyphen task is equal to discovery colon test, discovery colon index, discovery colon sync. So using that, you can quickly load your object, okay, from the particular assembly. So that is a feature is there. The next one, how to configure the audit logs in the Active Workspace 6.3. So how to enable the audit logs? There is one preference called as AWC show audit log is there, and using that you can quickly load the audit log in the Active Workspace. Okay, and how to customize the audit logs as per the business need. Sometimes customer wants to change the audit logs as per the need. So how to change that? There is one preference called as general audit logs, and using that you can change your properties. For example, property name, you can specify here, let's say login date, event type, user ID, changed ID, reason, group name, role name, security object display name. So you can change as per the need. That is called as audit log display. You can customize it. So there is a default audit log called a general audit log is a default style sheet, and you can modify it. How to search the style sheet? Using general search, and where you have to use XML rendering style sheet. According to that, you can search the audit logs. Okay, so using audit logs, you can configure as per the need. For example, you can show workflow details report, you can show workflow summary report, you can show workflow attachment report, workflow sign off report, general report, then sponsor authentication report. Plus you can show your file access read write report, file access report. You can customize the audit log as per your need. Okay, so using this also you can customize, for example, workflow log, general log, license export log, structure logs. Everything is possible using audit logs. This is one of the good feature, and using that you can get a more detail about your object or your current session details as per the need. Okay, how to do the style sheet configuration in the ActiveVerse 6.3. So this is a regular feature called as XRD editor. Might be some people are already aware about this. So using XRD editor, you can do the style sheet modification. So you can customize the style sheet for summary panel, for create panel, for save as panel, for information panel. Okay, and according to that, you can customize it. Okay, how to do the workspace configuration? So this is a regular utility called as npm run generate module, and using this script you can create your new workspace. You can add your custom workspace there, and types of workspace you can define whether it is exclusive or inclusive, that you can define there. Okay, so using that you can add your custom workspace. Then how to add tile in how to add the tile in the new workspace. You know, when you create a new workspace, so by default, it will load the blank page, and in that new workspace, suppose if you want to add number of tiles, so how to add number of tiles in the particular workspace? So that time you need to run this utility called as AWS to install tile collection. Okay, so using this utility, you can quickly load your tiles, and where you can specify your tile themes, tile icons, tile action, tile ID, tile template ID, parameters, site scope, everything you can add it there as per your need. So this XML you have to create manually, and you have to run it through this utility called as AWS to install tile collection. Okay, so while running this utility, you need to pass the parameter like user ID, password, group, and file is equal to file path, and mode is equal to particular mode, let's say add. And according to this, you can update the, or you can add your custom tile to the new workspace. Okay. Then using this, it will show like that. It will show the number of tile collection you can add, and it will load there. Okay, then how to check the logging mechanism in the active workspace 6.3. So you need to open your current session, and you have to press the F12 button of your keyboard, so that it will open the network tab, and inside network tab you will be able to find out your login details. Okay, next one, installation error in the active workspace 6.3. when you install the ActiveWorkspace 6.3, by default it will install there, but sometime it will show the installation error. Okay, so how to overcome that error? So that can you need to add the new parameter to your registry editor. Okay, so inside registry editor, it will open the registry editor here, and you can create a new parameter, and where you can add the parameter, let's say disable component as one of the new parameter you have to add, and that time you have to specify value name as a disable component, and value you have to give number of time, f is a number of time is equal to 8. So 8 time f you have to add it there, and you have to click on OK. After that you have to build this command called as awbuild.cmd, and according to that it will solve this such a problem, and then you can log into ActiveWorkspace 6.3. Okay, so this is a process. Using that you can solve the error. Then command creation in ActiveWorkspace 6.3, how to create command? That either you can create a command through command prompt or through command builder. So inside command creation there, how to create command? So that time you need to run the command. Okay, using there is a script called as npm run generate module. So using this you can create your new command where you have to specify command name, command icon, command location, and you can build it, and you can add your custom command. Okay, but on the top of that, Siemens has provided their declarative UI. What is declarative UI? It will provide you the UI workspace for UI view, content, layout, and behavior. So you can add your custom layout there, you can add your custom view, you can add your own behavior. For example, you can add text box, panel, and everything. So Siemens has provided here ready-made editor, just like Eclipse and Visual Studio. So like the same way, UI Builder is a ready-made tool, and using this tool you can add your customized UI as per the need. Okay. Then how to do the customization in the ActiveWorkspace 6.3? Okay, how to open the development environment. So in old version in 6.0 and other previous version, so that time you have to open the HTTP localhost colon 3000 question mark dev was one of the URL, and using that system was allowed to open the development environment. But from 6.2 onwards, 6.3 onwards, there is a URL called as http localhost colon 3000 slash dev mode. Okay, so using this you can open your development environment. Okay, so this is a ready-made tool, and using that you can add your customized panel. But before that, for 6.3 you need to run the development server. So Siemens has added their dev server is a separate environment. Okay, so you have to start the dev server separately. Okay, so this is a new feature here. So you can see in this image, this is active workspace. For development, these are the prerequisite. First is you should have gateway, you should have graphical QL, plus you should have declarative UI environment, plus file repository. Okay, that is for active workspace customization prerequisite, you can say. And dev server is a separate server, and inside dev server you can do the development operation. Okay, so where you can write JS file, HTML file, view model. So it's a separate development environment is there. Okay, so this you have to open in your browser. So how to open dev server? So that time you need to run the script. So you have to launch the dev server separately while doing customization. So this is a script, you have to run it. You can look into this image, second image. So it has first is init environment is there. Next one, set port number is equal to 3001. Means suppose temporarily you are moving your AWC application to another port number. Okay, without affecting main server. Okay, so how to move the environment from 3000 to 3001, for example, port number can be anything. Okay, so that time you have to run this script called as set endpoint gateway is equal to http colon gateway server 3000, and you have to write npm run start. So using this you can open the dev server separately. Okay, so and then you can do the further changes, like you can add your own panel, own buttons, own layout, everything you can customize in the dev server. Okay. So how to do the codeful customization here? So as I told you, dev server you have to separately open this, and inside this dev server you can add your custom command, custom panel. You can call the JS file as well, React JS function you can do. Plus you can call the SOA operation. Okay, so everything you can customize as per the need here. So for that OK button, you can write the SOA call. How to call the SOA call? I'll show in the next upcoming slide. So whatever command you have created, this command you have to export in a custom module. So before going to work with customization, first you need to create a module. Module is a directory where the local UI related some code can be generated there, auto generate. That is a Siemens has provided here ready-made environment, and using that ready-made environment, it will auto generated code, it will get generated. That is boilerplate is going to be generated there. So how to export that code? Okay, so whatever code, whatever module you have created, and inside module if you want to add your panel code or add your UI related code, how to export that code? Okay, so you can export that command related code in your custom modules. How to run that? So that time you have to run this script called as npm run export to src dash dash module is equal to, you have to specify the module name so that your custom view custom JSON file, it is going to be generated in the your custom module. Okay, so once you export that, that time system will create here view.html there and view model.json. View.html, it will contain UI element details where you will get the UI element. Okay, and view model.json, it will contains the business logic. So where inside the view model.json you can call either JS function, or you can call SOA operation, or you can call React.js or REST API. Everything you can call it here inside the view model. Okay, so how to call the JS function from the view model? So as I told you, once you export it, system will generate the HTML file. So what is HTML? Contains UI element. For example, text box, it has buttons, it has command. Okay, everything it will be there in your custom view.html file. Plus, once you export it, it will create a JSON file as well. So inside JSON file, you have to write a business logic, and from that JSON file, system will call the JS file. So that time you have to specify here. You can see button action. So suppose you have another OK button, and for that OK button, you have to write some business logic. So for that business logic related action, you will get it here inside the JSON file, and inside this you have to specify action type is equal to JS function, so that from this JSON file system will call the JS file, and where you have to specify action type is equal to JS function, method name you have to specify, input data you have to specify, and the JS name you have to specify. And inside JS you have to write a business logic. So inside this you have to write a React JS. Okay, so React JS code you can define here inside this, and according to your business need, it will get customized there. And after that, it will show the your custom panel there in your ActiveSpace environment. So let's say one of our customer requirement was to import the bulk of data inside Team Center and to create a bulk of object. Okay, so that time we imported one of the CSV file, okay, from outside. For that things we have created our custom panel where we added the browse button, and using that browse button system will read that particular CSV file, and then based on that, the whatever objects are mentioned in that CSV file, it will get loaded in the table, and once user will click on OK button, system will create the bulk of object inside the Team Center server. That kind of business logic we have written, and for that case we have written in the backend some React.js coding, and inside React.js we have called the SOA operation. Okay, then UI builder enhancement. So ActiveSpace has 6.3 has UI builder enhancement. So using this UI builder enhancement, Siemens has provided here fully powerful UI configuration they have given. So where you can add your panel, buttons, text box, labels, even you can change the label position, whether you want to show the result in a uh, for example, a label at the above at the text box, right hand, I mean say label at the left of the input widget, label at the right of the input widget. That you can define there. Even label position you can call. You can call your layout, whether two column layout, three column layout, two row layout, three row layout. That kind of configuration you can do. Okay, and from this. So as I told you, in the backend system will create some the files. So one file is view.html. So view.html has UI element, then view model.json, where it has the business logic. So how to call the SOA? So just like here, you can see when user will click on OK button, so whatever action is there, that action is going to be defined. And here you can see action type is equal to SOA service. So that from this system will call the SOA service, and you have to specify the service name, method name, and related business logic code you have to write. And after that, it will show your custom panel in the active workspace, and then user has to pass some value, and according to that, that object is going to be created in your team center server. Okay, so this is the process to call the SOA operation. Then how to get the current session details. Okay, so earlier old version there were CTX was there. So now CTX has been deprecated. I mean, so CTX is there, but CTX related one of the expression was there. That expression has been deprecated, and instead of that you can check the CTX details in your browser itself. So how to find out the current session details in your browser? So using CTX you can find out the, for example, current session details, the selected object properties information, everything you can find out there. So how to check the dev environment? So that time using Redux is a tool. So Redux dev tool is there. This is a extension. This extension you have to add in your Google Chrome, and or any browser whatever you have, and inside this you can get the more details, okay, about your team center environment. Even you can find out the team center preferences. Even you can find out the conditions of declarative UI. You can find out current session information. So Redux is a tool. Okay, so Redux tool, how to open the Redux tool? So that time you need to open the browser, and inside browser you will be able to see the current object information. For example, I want to show session information. I want to load the current object properties, and I don't know what are the properties are there of the current object. Okay, so using this you can find out the current properties. Suppose my requirement is I want to fetch the property of current selected object. So using this Redux tool, and inside this there is action, and inside this you can find out the parameter, for example properties, current session details. Okay, just like here, you unselected object properties, session information. If you want to load the preferences, current session preferences, so everything you can find out using this Redux tool. And it is very helpful for the developer while doing customization. Suppose if you want to load some session information in your custom panel, or if you want to fetch the selected object details, or if you want to fetch the properties of selected object, or if you want to fetch the preference value, so that you can quickly identify using this Redux is a tool, and using that you can quickly load this. Okay, so there are some scripts are there. Using this you can reduce the AngularJS footprint. You know, suppose you have older version, and if you want to move from, or if you want to upgrade from older version to new version. Okay, so how to reduce that AngularJS footprint? Okay, so there are some script. For example, first is AMD to ES6 is one of the particular script which is allowed to convert require JS define pattern to ES import pattern. So this is one of the first is that. Second one, convert test to use inject. So it is allowed to refactor the unit test in preparation for services conversion. Okay. Third one, source inspect. Inspect the code base to identify the number of factories, services, directories. So using that you can quickly identify this, and also produce the dependency tree for services. Okay. Fourth is convert service. It is allowed to convert the leaf services from dependency tree produced by source inspect is our earlier script to insulate AngularJS dependency. So that using this you can reduce the AngularJS dependency. So this is a convert service is there. Using that you can convert it. So these are the script. It is very helpful to migrate the old version code to the new ActiveVersa 6.3 code. Okay. So these are the things are there, and according to that you can customize it. So these are the new features. All are in ActiveVersa 6.3, and using that you can customize the tool, and according to business need you can do the changes. Okay. So this is a process to customize the ActiveVersa 6.3. Thank you all, and we are going to start the new batch from 25th of September. If anyone is interested, please contact to Spirit PLN. Thanks to all. Thanks for joining. Thank you all. Bye.